All right, guys, welcome back to Cherezian Racing. This is part 2 of me doing the motor swap and long tube header install on my buddy's 95 OBS truck here. So if you guys didn't watch the first video, you need to go back and watch it. But basically, to summarize what I did, is I undressed everything off the front of the motor here, intake manifold off, exhaust off, and I got the new motor over here ready to go. Fresh coat of paint on her. This is not the intake manifold. I'm going to put the old throttle body injected manifold back on it. And I already had the long tube headers test fitted in there, and got it all pretty much ready to go. So when I put the new motor in, it'll just be easy peasy. So I got to get the bell housing bolts off the bottom now, the torque converter bolts. I already pulled the 2 motor mount bolts out here. So she's almost out. All right, so I'm just hanging out under here with all the Black Widows, getting this lower bell housing cover off here. Got the last bolt coming out right now. There she comes. All right, now here comes the starter motor. All right, so I just got the first torque converter bolt out right there. I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. So now I'm gonna have to turn that motor over and get the next one out or whatever to get access to the bolt. It's actually right there, but there's another one up there. So eventually I'm gonna have to turn this crankshaft and flex plate. So instead of going up there to the front on the balancer, if you pull all the spark plugs out, just move this bad boy by hand. Problem solved. All right, got all 3 torque converter bolts out. All right, now I'm trying to get these bell housing bolts off without trying to give myself a knuckle buster here. Pretty damn tight. Maybe if I wasn't tightening it, it'd be easier, huh? And I said in the last video I did this for a living. What an amateur. All right, all the bell housing bolts are out. I got a jack, a couple blocks down here under the transmission, and she's already separated. So got her jacked up pretty good. Got a little chain here. All that's left is to come get this cherry picker over here and rip her out. Gotta move this Saginaw 3-speed first. That's going in our hobby stock race car eventually one day whenever I get around to working on it again. Oh yeah. This cherry picker has pulled out many a motor in its lifetime. I've had it since I was about 18. Okay, so you guys may or may not know that sometimes these cherry pickers don't like to roll around on the regular ground very much. The gravel is gonna be a whole nother level. So I'm gonna have to really manhandle this thing. Let me get this motor out here. Come on, baby. All right, start jacking her up a little bit. Oh, like a glove. All right, you gonna work with me or you gonna work with me? You're not gonna work with me, okay. Guess we're gonna go little by little, aren't we? Inch your way out of here. All right, hit a little road bump. I forgot that there is a ground on the back of the cylinder head right here. So I gotta get that bolt up right there. Home free, baby, home free. I already figured out a way to move this cherry picker. If there's a will, there's a way. Go like that. Voila! Got a concrete driveway right there. Alright, see if I can pop the curb here. Ooh, we're close. I feel like use extra hand here. Alright. Here she goes. Oh man, get off the block. Alright, so now it's time for the heavy part. See if this is gonna work for me. Oh baby, we're tipping. We're tipping, but this motor is old. I don't care about it. So if it falls, it falls. It ain't gonna fall though. This side should be a little bit easier here. Oh yeah, baby. She's in. Alright guys, just got through pulling the old pan off this thing just to check what it was. It's a 2-bolt main. Damn it. Whatever. I'm getting through swapping all the parts on a new motor here. Got the oil cooler lines, the motor mounts, oil filter adapter, sending unit for the oil pressure sensor. Pretty much everything's done. Just waiting on a couple more parts and put the flex plate on, and then should be able to put this baby back in the truck tomorrow. Alright, got her all dressed up. Gonna follow the yellow brick road all the way back underneath the truck. All right, stuffed her in there, got all the bell housing bolts in there and tight. Now I'm gonna work on these motor mount bolts. All right guys, this is my header gasket. Hey, mystery chicken. What y'all ruffled up for, huh? Yeah. So the motor mount bolts are all tight, so I don't have to get in there anymore, so I'm gonna try to put this header in. And this is the best stuff I've ever found for headers. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for it, but this is what I use on our race cars, on the headers, and I'll tell you what, they don't ever have a leak, and the bolts never back out. So once it's tight, and it stays tight. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the cylinder head here, on all the ports, and then I'm gonna stick the header in and get this side in for now. And I can't do this other side, the driver's side right now, because I'm still waiting on Amazon to come with the new oil filter and the oil filter adapter housing thing seals for it. I gotta get some new O-rings for it, and also these cooler lines, the O-rings that go into the housing that seal up the oil cooler line. So I'm not gonna do this side yet because it's just gonna get in the way, but once that shows up here, hopefully in the next hour or so, go ahead and get all that side done. And the only thing about using this red RTV or orange RTV high temp stuff is you gotta let it sit at least overnight and let it dry, because if you don't let it dry, it's gonna blow right out. So it's got to be sealed up and dried, and then you'll never have a leak.
The green that they put in the Ford is totally different compared to the Chevy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna get some green coolant for this bad boy. All right. So owner of the truck came by, laid eyes on the new motor in the truck for the first time. What do you think?
Hell yeah.
You got the wrong hat on there, buddy.
Oh, I know, right?
He works for Ford. That's why he's wearing it. But he's a Chevy boy. True and true. All right. Got the one side in. I still gotta tighten the bolts up, but it went in pretty easy. What do you got in the bag, son? Ooh, baby. I know summer is officially over. Now it's the first day of fall. I think it was yesterday, but these are still good. When the sun's out and it's a little bit warm, it goes down like butter.
Exactly.
All right, Hillbilly Jack and the Mystery Chicken are having a moment. Look like a cop with those glasses on. I kind of like them. Look like a super trooper. All right, it's officially dark o'clock. Got the Busch Light peach here. So delicious. And what I'm doing now is I'm cleaning up this intake manifold a little bit, getting ready to put it on the motor. And as you see, I have the EGR valve off. And you guys are probably like, what do you got going on with the EGR valve? Well, it's going bye-bye. We're deleting it. So here she is. Apparently, you cannot buy the EGR block-off plate kits anymore. They just don't sell them. They're discontinued. So when you can't buy a part, you make the part. So this guy is gonna go right in place of where that guy was at. I already got one hole kind of there, and I'm just gonna drill another one right there, and then block her off, because EGR valve is not needed in this truck, because this is a hot rod, this is a monster truck, no smog needed. You're gonna see him a mile away, hear him from 2 miles away, with the Ford hat, driving a Chevy. Oh yeah, baby. Like a glove, like a glove. All right, got the custom EGR block-off plate here. A little bit of that glorious orange RTV on there. She's ready to go. Just like that. She's a beaut, Clark. All right, my Amazon package came in, finally. It's about 9:30 at night. The new oil filter is a pt.2 AC Delco, and then my gasket kit is the Dorman 82560 gasket kit. Come on, turn off. There we go. All right, going back in with the intake manifold. As you can see, it's a nice aluminum intake manifold, and if you watched the first video, you'd probably recognize it was not this color. It was all black. Had a freaking thick 1/4-inch layer of grease on it. Couldn't even recognize it. So I cleaned it up real good. Got my EGR block-off plate on there, and hopefully this thing goes back on as easy as it came off. I just get the perfect kerplunk on the RTV, and so we'll see. Let's see what I can do here. See if I'm on my game or off my game. Okay. I normally just try to eyeball a couple bolt holes here and then just go straight down on it if possible. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. All right, guys, so I got the driver's side header on. So easy, just right down there. And I had just barely enough of that orange RTV to finish up the job. So I just got to tighten these bolts up a little bit. I threw the gasket kit down there on the oil filter housing. That's all buttoned up. Everything on the bottom side of this motor is done, besides he's got to take this truck to the exhaust shop because it's got exhaust pipe for the passenger side header where the collector is. It like lines right up, but there's nothing on this side because it's not a dual exhaust system. He's got to get it Y piped in or something at the exhaust shop. So intake manifolds all torqued down. We're getting somewhere. All right, I was burning the candle at both ends last night. Got some sleep, back at it again. Got all the spark plugs in, got this other header over here on. Distributors in, everything's pretty much ready to go besides the front end on the pulley system and stuff. But all the spark plugs went in, no problem, except for this one right here. The cylinder number 6. Can't get it with an extension coming out of there unless you have a wobble socket or a spark plug socket, which I don't have. So I ended up getting by with putting a deep socket on there and just having this little bit of room right here to get it tight. So That was the hardest part of the whole spark plug fiasco thing right there. All right, so the next order of business is trying to get this dipstick in, the dipstick tube, and you will have to modify it a little bit. You got to put some small bends in it in some places. You just kind of finicky with it in there and see what angles are going to work best for you. So I need to bend this tab a little bit more down right now. So if you got a vise, it makes it a whole lot easier. All right, so you want to do your bends in very small increments so you don't pinch the tube. So that's what I made it look like, kind of a weird little squiggly line. But let me show you how it goes in, and it's like butter. So it goes in between, I gotta use 2 hands for this. It goes in between the primary tubes for cylinder 4 and 6. And I really can't do this holding the camera. All right, so there's a hole, and this heater hose kind of gets in the way if you got it on, but anyways, just like that, and voila, lines up with the original bolt hole right there, and it doesn't touch any of the primary tubes. That's what you're looking for. All right, got a liberal amount of RTV on the dipstick tube, and I ain't talking about politics here. Going right down there without trying to smear it. I'm gonna turn the camera off. I ain't gonna be able to do this with one hand. All right, so bolted down. Just made sure the dipstick goes in nice and easy. Doesn't have any pinch points in it. All right, so as I mentioned in my part 1 video, bow tie guy 601 on YouTube taught me this trick, and that's to shave this bracket right here down, which I just did, and that way you can get to thread that bolt on with the power steering pump in. So I'm gonna put the alternator bracket back on and get this front end starting to get dressed up here. All right, so got the bracket on. The next mod I'm gonna do here is this bracket right here that goes from the alternator right there, and then right through these 2 bolt holes to these studs that are on the back side of the power steering pump. And what used to happen was the exhaust manifold here, the 2 bolts that went through the exhaust manifold about out here went through those 2 guys right there. So obviously that's not going to be in effect anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this whole piece off right there with the grinder, just like I ground that bolt hole, or that bolt bracket right there. All right, putting the power steering pulley back on with my special puller and installer tool. I got a question on the last video on which tool it was. This is my Blue Point kit that I actually brought from work that I use a lot, and it is a CJ132A. Got it from my Snap-on guy, and it's a really good set. I don't know how much it costs, probably very expensive, but I bought it like 9 years ago, so I got my use out of it for sure. And so I'm gonna put this guy back on till the pulley here is flush with the snout of the shaft that comes out of the power steering pump, and that's just how it was when I pulled it apart, so it should be lined up perfectly if I get it to that point. So I'm gonna keep on going. All right, getting ready to put the water pump on. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one too, but I use RTV for the water pump gaskets. Yeah, and guess what? I never had one leak. I've done this so many times on my race cars and stuff, and they've lasted over the years. Never once had one leak. I'm a strong believer of not using any gaskets when you possibly can get away with it, because you got nothing to squish. So it's metal to metal contact. These bolts stay tight once they're tight. You don't have any kind of, retorquing or anything like that. And that, in my opinion, is what kills a gasket, is when it loses the clamping force on the bolt. So if you can eliminate the gasket and go with the RTV, it's something that's good. Like the red RTV on the gasket, or the headers here, high temp stuff. And this is just the ultra gray stuff. I'm a big believer in it. All right, pretty much got everything buttoned back up, besides the fact I don't have any coolant in it right now, and distributor is still loose. So I think I'm about ready to turn on the key ignition and see if I got any fuel leaks back here at these lines to the throttle body injection. And if it's all good, I'm gonna go ahead and give her a whirl. All right. Let's see if we got a fuel leak up here. I don't don't see nothing. Looks pretty good to me. All right, let's see what happens when we pull this key out here. Crank it over, see if we get some smoke. Oh yeah, baby. He's a runner. All right, about ready to time it. It sounded like it was way too far advanced, so I got my trusty timing light here. Innova. I love this thing. It's a digital one, but it works good when you're just doing it straight up too. So I'm gonna go ahead and retard just a little bit. All right, and then the little timing connector down here underneath the glove box. Just got that disconnected right there. So she should be ready to time. I'm gonna put it right at 0, top dead center. See how she sounds then. Alright, baby, we're on the money. Sounds mean. Alright, see if she fires right up. Alright, got pretty much the rest of the parts needed to finish up the job. Some of the valve cover grommets and the PCV valve tube that goes to the intake. And I guess he bought some freaking pit vipers or something. I don't know what these things are. Not my style. Alright, here's the green goblin, all pretty much done. Got the hood back on her. The only thing we're kind of waiting on is for him to bring me some green coolant so I can go ahead and time the motor once it's warm. And like I just showed you guys, a couple little miscellaneous stuff on the valve cover here. But she's all ready to go. I'm not gonna drive her down the road because I don't know what happened, but his toe is like way out on a couple sides, so I really can't drive it down the road without scrubbing all the freaking rubber off the tires in the front. So unfortunately I can't get you guys a running on the road video. He's gonna have to take it to the exhaust shop anyways, so maybe I'll get a video for you guys once that's all done if you guys want. So if you want to see this car when it's on the road and the exhaust is all done and the toe's fixed, just let me know in the comments what you guys want to see. But with that being said, just like the start of part 1 video, I'm gonna end this video, part 2, the opposite way, pulling the race car back in the shop. All right, so I'm not gonna spoil it for all you people, but we just raced Antioch Speedway last weekend, and all I have to say is rubbing is racing. Yeah, got a couple of little tire marks there, but she's in one piece. So I'm gonna get her back in the shop, and I'll post that video for you guys here real soon. All right. Damn it, missed it. Need 2 hands.
I'll hit my car.
Afraid I'm gonna hit it? I got plenty of room.
No, you don't. There's no room here.
Alright, you let me know when I'm gonna hit it, okay?
Oh my god. I believe in you, but not a lot of room. I don't know. it, babes?
Race car is back in. Jack's truck is done. Thank God.
Thank you.
UGR block off plate. Hopefully this thing will go back on as easy as it came off and it just gets the perfect clunk on it. So see how good I can do today. All right. It's all about having the right balance. I'm going straight down on it. I usually try to find a couple holes and then just try to line them up with the eyeball and then just, what am I hitting here? Hitting something. Oh, right there, that guy. All right, ready? Curve. Plunk. Perfect. I forgot the freaking intake gaskets. All right, redo. Did that on purpose, didn't I? I just want to get them smeared on both sides. That's why I was doing that.